Welcome back to my contribution to the 2024 Small Scale Group Build hosted by BG's Model Workshop and the Scale Model Car Guy channel. In the last video, I mentioned this Mazda R360 was one I've been wanting to tackle since it arrived in the stash. First, a little bit about the real car. Did I say this thing is little? It's almost a caricature of itself. The engine is a two-cylinder with a whopping 16 horsepower, and the gearbox could almost fit in one hand. This is unacceptable.
So the first thing we're going to do is something needs to be done back here because the two-cylinder 16 horsepower engine just isn't really going to cut it. And so what I'm thinking,
it could be said that the 787B is Mazda's most famous race car. It won the 1991 24 Hours of Le Mans. Powered by the iconic R360B engine, this four-rotor Wankel engine produced about 700 horsepower naturally aspirated. When giant turbos are added, power can go up way north of 1600 horsepower. Yes, now we're talking, except we have a problem. Where do I get a 32nd scale turbocharged Mazda four-rotor engine? I alluded to this new toy box, and it was time to put it to the test. The first stop was Cults 3D, where I found this four-rotor 26B style engine from zero factory scale work. The engine had the turbo and all the separate engine components, something I was looking for. Next, I needed a transaxle, and this Ford Cosworth Huen gearbox from Metabus was exactly what I was looking for. Now it's time to figure out Chidu box and make some parts.
and what you're looking at is a multi-piece Mazda four-rotor Wankel engine with the turbo. Doing some quick measurements, I don't think the whole four-rotor is going to fit back there, but we'll see if we can get at least two of the rotors back in there. We might have to modify the intakes a little bit. The size of this stuff is amazing. I mean, there's an X-Acto blade for scale.
The reality is there's just not enough space to hang a four-rotor in the back of the R360. But the beauty of the rotary engine is they are modular. The legendary 92-02 RX-7 used a twin-rotor, twin-turbo engine, which in stock form put out almost 300 horsepower. Modern tuned-up versions have more than doubled that output, which should move the R360 along just fine.
So in order to stuff the engine in, the rear deck is going to have to be cut open. And you're probably wondering, what am I looking at? So basically, I've taken a flexi-file handle and some string and looped it through. The straight cuts I've done with my trusty ninja saw that you should all be aware of if you watch the channel, and some of it has been scribed with the good old X-Acto knife. But to do these corners, I'm gonna have to use the string, and this is a tip that my buddy Bob Jernigan uses to cut his doors and trunk open. So we're going to give it a whirl to finish off these little areas to get this thing finally open. So here we go. So you might be thinking, How does string cut plastic? It's actually the friction of the string that melts the plastic very fine to do those very fine little corners. And we're going to get this cleaned up and zip that piece out, and then we can see if this engine fits. So after just a little bit of cleanup, the deck lid has been removed, and it still fits with all the precision. That's a good way to cut it out. Whether or not we use it, I don't think so. Unfortunately, I think it goes to the burn pile.
The next thing to tackle is the chassis. The center part is marked X. X marks the spot that needs to be removed. I'll use the Ninja saw and my score and snap method to remove this section. After a quick cleanup, it seems the transaxle fits about where it should. Then I assembled the engine with white glue to see if it even fits in there. The big turbo and intercooler dominate the two-rotor, and despite its size, this thing would pack a punch. Next time, I'll move on to the interior and try to make it as racy as what's lurking out back. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, you know what to do, because I have all kinds of model car stories to tell. Thanks for watching.